Hey, I'm gonna play a quick video and then I will be right back to comment on it.
Hi, MLA Guthrie here, leader of the Tory party, rebuilding a progressive conservative movement here in Alberta. I've been asked about our party's position on a number of issues and will continue to develop our policies over the coming weeks and months. But I am happy to clearly state our position when it comes to Albertans with disabilities. Albertans deserve a government that treats people with dignity, especially those who rely on essential supports to live with stability and independence. That's why the Tory party strongly opposes the UCP's decision to roll back AISH payments by $200 a month. Now, let's put that into context. Over the past few years, this government has grown its operations dramatically, spending heavily on political priorities, betting on risky ventures and costly boondoggles that have little to do with day-to-day needs of Albertans. We've seen money poured into high-risk projects without proper business cases developed. The health system reorganization being a prime example. Yet somehow there's still money to provide red carpet renovations for the Premier and upgrades to government offices, including commercial kitchens and even new china, while simultaneously essential supports are cut to cover their wasteful spending habits. The pattern is becoming clear. The UCP spends freely on what it wants while asking people with disabilities to sacrifice what they need. This isn't fiscal responsibility, it's misplaced priorities. The deeper problem is how these changes were made. Neither the AISH rollback nor the new ADAP program involved meaningful consultation with disability organizations or with the very people who depend on these supports every day. If reform was needed, the first step should have been listening. Many Albertans with disabilities are now facing the prospect of reapplying, new assessments, and more administrative hurdles. Barriers that are already incredibly difficult are now made more complex. Support programs should provide reliability, not force vulnerable people to repeatedly prove their need or cause hardship and worry. Structurally, Alberta has a large gap, remaining one of only 2 provinces without accessibility legislation, the other being PEI. The future Tory government will make accessibility standards a priority. Practical, common sense rules that improve access to services, communication, and infrastructure, and not only to benefit people with disabilities, but also seniors, families, and all Albertans, because government should be more accessible to everyone. Real fiscal responsibility means managing taxpayer dollars wisely so that we can protect and support those who need it most, not using it as a cover to cut vulnerable people first while government pampers itself elsewhere. This comes down to values. The Tory party will lead with compassion, responsibility, and respect, delivering a government that supports those who need stability the most and restore integrity to how decisions are made. Thank you for listening.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to MLA Guthrie and the Alberta Progressive Tory Party for taking a stand and for making disability one of the first things that they've talked about in terms of a platform and what their vision is for Alberta. That gives me a lot of hope. And I hope that it gives a lot of other people with disabilities hope. And I know that hope in our community right now, especially in Alberta, is a very, very fragile thing. But it does give me a glimmer of hope. And that hope is reignited by the fact that Albertans Advocating for Change Together, an organization I've been involved with for a long time, provincial disability advocacy group. I arranged a meeting between us and MLA Guthrie, and that will be happening by the end of the month. And, considering the fact that whenever we or I or anyone has reached out to the UCP, the response has been, oh, but look how amazing, look at all these wonderful things that we've done. Look how amazing we are. Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised. The other thing that I want to say about this is, I have voted NDP all my life. I probably will always vote NDP. But I also believe that people should have choice. And when you have a government who is, I don't even think they can call themselves conservative. When you have a government that is as far right as the government that we have, who, want to fan the flames of separation and dismantle healthcare, force teachers back to work, use the notwithstanding clause to force teachers back to work, use the notwithstanding clause to make it so that trans youth are harmed, and, aren't safe. All of these different things. And then you have the NDP on the other side. Now, whether the NDP is as far left as the name would suggest is a completely different conversation that we can have. Spoiler alert, they're not. Because this is Alberta, and they can't be. But when those are your two options, either you're gonna have people who aren't gonna vote, because they're not gonna vote for the NDP and they're not gonna vote for the UCP. So they're just not gonna vote. Or you're going to have them vote for the UCP because they're conservative and they're the only conservative option, even though that party doesn't necessarily align with what they believe and they value. So the Alberta Progressive Tory Party, Progressive Conservative Party, it's so important to have that option. It is so incredibly important. And if you are conservative, or if you know people that are conservative, please encourage them to vote for the Alberta Progressive Tory Party. Sorry, there's still a tongue twister in my mind. Vote for them. Because we need to get this train wreck of a government out of here, because we can't. We can't. We can't afford another 4 years of the UCP. So, yeah, that is my message. And again, to Peter, thank you. Thank you for standing with us. And I truly do wish your party success. Because the only thing that scares me more than the NDP not getting in is the UCP getting in again. Best of luck to you and your party. I think I speak for everybody when I once again, for the third time, say thank you.